My goodness, what a weekend at the real McCoy Ranch. I can't wait to share this footage with you guys. Before we get into it, I want to share the verse of the day with you. It comes from Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. It says, "Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night, so you'll be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do." And you know what's really cool is that the more time we spend in the Word, the closer we are to the Lord, the easier it is for us to hear and see what His plans are for our lives. And so a lot of people, they pull this verse and they apply it to their current goals and where they're at. For example's sake, at this very moment in time, somebody may say, well, I want to be a pitcher in the major leagues. But as you study the Bible, the book of instruction, continually, you meditate on it night and day, so you be sure to obey everything written in it. As you spend more time with the Lord and you grow closer to Him, He may turn and tell you, well, instead of being a Major League Baseball player, you're going to be a police officer. And in doing God's will in our lives and in living out His will for our lives, we will be successful in that. We will prosper in that. And we may not ever have millions of dollars or this car or this house or whatever. You fill in the blank. But the Lord will take care of you. You'll be prosperous and you will succeed if you are living out the call for your life and what the Lord has willed for your life. It's important that we obey everything in the Bible, and it's amazing how our goals and the things that we want and our desires and the way that we live our lives changes as we walk down this path and walk with the Lord daily. So getting into this video, I actually filmed this video about roughly a month ago. We had Dan and his good friend, Dan. They came to hunt with us. The first Dan that I mentioned, he actually hunted with us back way earlier in the year, in like January or February this year. And he was accompanying his son-in-law, if I remember correctly. They came, killed a whole bunch of pigs, and Shane, his son-in-law, killed a axis buck. And then Dan came back with his friend Dan. And since Dan's friend Dan served, I think he was former Marine, we just called him Captain. That was the best way to differentiate between the two. Both great guys, and we were super glad to have Dan back in camp, and we were ecstatic to have Captain in camp with us as well. The whole thing started off and finished pretty rainy. It was nasty, wet, slick, just gross all the way around. But we have some of our best hunts and some nasty weather. Dan and Captain came in, if I remember correctly, they came in on a Thursday night, and we got up Friday morning and hit the blind that we call the black buck blind. We jumped in there, and you can hear in the footage it's raining, but we fed the roads, and man, we were covered up from the very beginning. And it was my understanding that Dan only wanted to kill an axis buck until a big spotted fallow walked out, and things changed drastically.
He'll come this way, won't he, Brad?
He's more than likely going to hang out there down at the end.
I'm sorry.
He's going to hang out down there at the end. He probably won't be too close to us. At least there's nothing behind him.
The one. Shoot at the one that's closest to us.
Good hit. They hit it. Good hit.
I hit him good, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it going right through there.
Yeah. Way to go. Look at that palm on the left.
Nice.
That is very nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Congratulations.
All that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty.
Beautiful. Dan decided that since he didn't have a spotted fallow on the wall, that he was going to change that. And that's one of the great things about hunting with us at the McCoy Ranch is the variety. So we're definitely going to see some animals, no doubt about it. And we're also going to see not just like the same species, but we're going to see 8 to 10 different species every sit. And it's just phenomenal. It's something to see. And if you guys want to book a hunt and come see us at the Real McCoy Ranch, all the information will be down in the description below. There'll be a price list as well as a link to the website. You guys can see some pictures there. You can get some information that you need. All that good stuff will be right there for your convenience. But back to the shot. Dan made a phenomenal heart shot. This buck ran maybe 20 yards. Like, he didn't even make it to the edge of the sendero before he fell over. And talk about a beautiful cape, a really nice fallow buck. I was super stoked for him, and it was just a really a cool deal, because Dan decided to throw a wrench in the whole weekend, and we thought we were only chasing axis, and bam, here we are with a fallow on the ground. So that was cool. We got the buck back to camp, skinned, cleaned up. We head out for the after lunch. We head out for the Friday afternoon hunt, and it was great. We saw a lot of animals. We just didn't see the buck that we were looking for. We saw a good like 26-inch axis buck, a good 28-inch axis buck here and there, but we were looking for one over 30. That was Dan's goal. Dan wanted an axis buck over 30 inches, and we were, as a team, committed to putting that 30-plus inch axis buck on the ground for him. Saturday morning we roll out. We get settled in. It was nice weather, and it's a little bit more of the same. We're seeing quite a few axis bucks, just not the 30-plus that Dan was looking for. Now, driving around, we had seen several. We did a little bit of night hunting as well, running the spotlight, and things were just so wet, nasty, and at that point still really green. So these axis, that's the thing about them, is that when it's green, if there's any green at all, they're just flat out not interested in any kind of corn for the most part. They'll come out for a little bit, but they'll get tired of being pushed around by all the other animals, and they'll just leave because they'd rather eat green grass. Nonetheless, we pursued on in search of just one, basically one deer that Dan was really looking for. And we decided, let's just leave these tube lines in this area that we've been hunting on the front end of the ranch. Let's go all the way to the back. I didn't have high hopes for it, but something just felt right about it. And so we jumped into the stand on Saturday afternoon at the very far back corner of the ranch. And we figured, since we'd been making some commotion and doing some driving around, a little bit of night hunting and this and that, and just hitting our comfort zone spots, we decided, let's just go try the blind in the very back that we call the spoke wheel. We get in, it's raining off and on, but immediately we have a good 30-inch plus axis buck that pops out with a bunch of does and some smaller bucks. I'm like, all right, game on. Here we go. This is the one that we've been looking for this weekend, just specifically for Dan. He pops out, gives us a look, and I think as Dan was going to stick the barrel out the window, I think he bumped the window, and animals were gone. Specifically the buck. I'm like, oh man, what are we going to do? So we sat patiently for about 15 minutes, and I was hoping, well, you know what, maybe, just maybe, this buck will pop back out. I don't know, we'll see. Well, that 15 minutes goes by, and then about 20 minutes, and then it's like, well, I'm not really seeing him, and he's just not really interested. And like I said, things were still pretty green. So I made the decision to run, I kind of ran, I jogged, I guess you could say. After I got out of the stand, I went to the buggy, I brought the buggy up, and I fed everything again, got back in the stand, and lo and behold, he pops back out. But of course, he's at the back of the line behind everybody. We got a bunch of aoudad in the way. There's some red deer that are feeding in there, and Dan just made a beautiful shot, just like his fallow. And it was super intense, because I knew that if one aoudad or one red deer or one black buck or one hog or one whatever, you fill in the blank, decided to push on that axis buck and get him off of the corn that they want, that buck was probably going to leave, and we wouldn't see him again until the following morning. They get bullied around pretty easy, and like I said, for the third time, once again, if things are green, they don't care. They'd rather eat green grass than yellow corn, and that's just the nature of an axis deer and the majority of your grazers. So I knew that we didn't have a whole lot of time to play with, and Dan just pulled it off perfectly. He had the gun out ready. Every time the buck would pop his head up and give us a a clear shot, or every time an Aoudad had moved out of the way and give us a clear shot, there was another animal that was right behind this axis buck. So we had the perfect combination of patience and go-getter-doneness, if you will. So it worked out pretty dang good. We couldn't have asked for it to work out any better. Other than I would have liked for the deer to be standing still, and I'm sure Dan would have liked for the deer to be standing still too whenever it turned and walked out of there. So I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this clip. It got my heart racing then. It got my heart racing just talking about it, and it's pretty sweet. So you guys check it out. Get some of them other ones to clear out of there. Oh, Dad are right in the way. Come on, dude. I'd say just shoot him in the freaking neck right below the head, but the problem is whenever he picks his head up, the does pick their heads up too. Yeah. Good shot. Oh shit. Good shot. Good shot. Headed to the scene of the crime. Oh yeah. I knew he wouldn't be far. I knew you made a great shot. Hey, deer. He's dead. Very nice deer. Wow, deer. He's a oh. Wow. What an awesome animal.
Do that, like and subscribe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think one of the Aoudad, or one of the axis does got a little bit too possessive of the corn, and he's like, you know what, I've just about had enough. That buck was on his way out, and Dan was ready, safety off, finger on the trigger, and just absolutely made a great shot. We tracked him in there, 40 yards, maybe if that, and Dan got to put his hands on his 31-inch axis buck. We've got lots of giants, guys, lots of really good axis bucks, lots of really good black bucks, just a little bit of everything, you name it, we got it. So I want to remind you that all the information for the Real McCoy Ranch is down in the description below. Y'all reach out to me, I'll book your hunt, I'll be there as your personal guide and cameraman for your hunt, and we will have an absolute blast. There is no question or no doubt about that. We will have a phenomenal time, and we'll see a lot of animals, and I want you guys to be able to experience that as we move through the heart of the winter and into the spring. We're looking at some really great times to be hunting exotics and hogs. So be sure that you get with me, shoot me an email, send me a message on social media, and we'll get you booked in. I can promise you that you won't regret it. Once again, it was a phenomenal weekend. It was great to meet Captain. It was great to see Dan again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a Nubian ibex and a Texas doll that they'll be coming back for. Hopefully soon. We'd love to have them, and we'd love to have any of you guys as well. I want to say a huge thank you to Dan and Captain for coming and paying us a visit and hunting with us once again. It's always a pleasure when you get to meet somebody, hunt with them, build a new friendship, and then they come and you get to do the same thing over and over again. It just makes for really great weekends, and we enjoy it more than words can describe. I've got some footage from an epic father-son black buck hunt coming up from the Real McCoy Ranch, so you guys want to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on that hunt and any of my other hunts that are coming. Be sure that you push on that thumbs up button if you enjoy these Real McCoy Ranch videos. And tell me about an animal that you're interested in hunting down in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Y'all are awesome, and I'll see you in just a few days.